Hare Krishna. So now that we have survived the end of the world, we're still alive after yesterday. So it's good time to focus on what's beyond the end, which is anyway inevitable. Well, whether the world gets destroyed or not, it will eventually, but not so soon. Our bodies are going to get destroyed. So therefore it's better to take shelter of the Bhagavad Gita rather than, as Shruti Dharma Prabhu was nicely explaining, our mobile phones, because this is the real shelter. The Bhagavad Gita, after all, is not an ordinary book. It's a book of divine wisdom. It's a timeless classic of knowledge that is not touched by time and space. It remains relevant at all times, in all places, for all persons. Ordinary knowledge of this world changes with time, but the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita does not change. It remains always as relevant as ever. The Bhagavad Gita is considered to be the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopal nandanaha partho vatsaha sudhir bhokta dugdham gitamritam mahat. So it is said in the Gita Mahatmya that if all the Upanishads, you take the essence of that, they're like a cow, then the very milk of that is the Bhagavad Gita, the essence. And Arjuna, who is hearing the Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, is like the cow. So if Bhagavad Gita is like the cow, Arjuna is like the calf who is drinking the milk, the nectarian milk of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is the cowherd man. So the Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. A brief word on the historicity of the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not mythology. It is part of the historical text, the Mahabharata. Everyone has heard of this magnum opus of Srila Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of the Lord. It appears in chapters 25 to 42 of one section of the Mahabharata called the Bhishma Parva. And interestingly, it happens just before the battle is about to commence. A very unusual location for a spiritual message to be delivered. It wasn't delivered in an ashram or in the mountains or to some renunciant, but rather it was spoken to a prince on the battlefield. Very, very significant. So practical for every one of us who ask, that is the Bhagavad Gita relevant for me in the course of all my struggles? And the answer, of course, is that if it is relevant for Arjuna, who is fighting in the battlefield, and for whom the question of survival is far more acute than for us, why would it not be relevant for us? It certainly is. So since the Mahabharata is a historical narration, the Bhagavad Gita is a historical occurrence. It is a conversation between the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and his dear devotee and friend Arjuna. And as we move ahead in the 18 chapters, reciting these wonderful verses, we will try to reflect also on a few purports and a few important things that we can note in these 18 chapters. And now we can begin with Gauri Prabhu's melodious chanting of the 18 chapters.